John Farrell with the Farrell Law Firm. We're going to talk about an 8-day action plan to get your estate plan into place. Now, in the description below, I'm going to put what those 8 days are all about, and every day we're going to address a different topic, but today we're going to be talking about the personal property memorandum. So that's going to be on day 1. All right, so the personal property memorandum is somewhat of a new feature when it comes to estate planning, but it'll make a lot of sense once I describe it to you. So back in the old days, people used to put things like, I want my nephew to get my watch into their will, or they might put something like, I want my daughter to get my bracelet, and all of those types of sentimental items or personal property items would go into their will or their trust. And so over time, what we found was that people would change their minds a lot about these little things. They'd call 6 months later and say, that nephew I wanted to give the watch to, well, I've sort of had a falling out with him and I no longer want him to get that watch. So we'd have them come in and we would do a codicil to their will and charge them for it, and they would sign the codicil, and about 6 months later they'd call back and say, that nephew I had the falling out with, well, we've made up and I really do want him to have that Rolex watch. So they would come back into the office, we would charge them again to fix it back to the original way, and over time we found that people really changed their mind a lot about these sentimental items that they want to give away. They're called personal property, and so we found out that there was a better way to handle these types of things. In comes the personal property memorandum. All right, so with the personal property memorandum, what you do is it's basically something that you attach to your will or your trust, where you describe what the item is and who's getting it, and you sign it and date it at the bottom. You do this at your leisure after you set up your will. Now, your will reference this personal property memorandum. It'll say something to the effect that, hey, I might have a written document called the personal property memorandum that I've attached to this will, or I have it with my other belongings, and there I want to dispose of the sentimental items I want to give away. And if I don't have it listed on that memorandum, then just divide it equally amongst my kids, or something to that effect. Then, if you change your mind about who gets that watch, well, then you can throw away that personal property memorandum, create a new one where you describe where that watch actually goes, and then sign it and date it at the bottom. And so this is how we do the things these days with people giving away their personal items or their sentimental items. It's a lot better than having people come in and just charge them for every time they change their mind about some of those sentimental items that they want to give away. Now, don't get me wrong, there are attorneys out there that still do it the old-fashioned way, where they'll have you put in there where each little specific item goes. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, quite honestly, because, in fact, you'll probably change your mind over your lifetime and maybe even get rid of some of those things that you've listed as sentimental items. And so it might be just a way for the attorney to get a little bit more fees when you come in to change your minds about those little things. Well, I think there's a better way. It's called the personal property memorandum, and it's something that you can fill out at your leisure after you have set up your will or your trust. All right, so the item that you really need to consider here, it's called the personal property memorandum, but it's really designed to capture those sentimental items you want to give away. So the big picture here is that you've got things that you're going to want to be giving away when you pass away. Some of them are serious assets like a home or an investment account. Others are what we call personal property, sentimental items like that watch or bracelet or artwork or furniture or china or lamps or tables, beds, just all those non-titled things that you have in your house that may have some sentimental value to someone that you want to give away, but they're not something that's titled like a home or an investment account. Well, the way to get rid of those things, or give them away rather, is to have it done with a personal property memorandum. That way you don't have to go into the lawyer's office every time you change your mind about who gets those sentimental items. Now, so give some thought into what you want to do with your sentimental items. Perhaps start making that list, but ultimately it's something that's completed after you do your will or your trust. All right, so that's really all we have for today, addressing that personal property memorandum. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel because we put out new videos almost every day, and make sure you hit the like button because, hey, every like helps.